So, my mom knew that I loved her. Oh, man, I'm not going to cry. Oh, shoot, I didn't mean to cry, y'all. Oh, shoot.
In a deeply moving and vulnerable moment captured at a pastor's gathering, Joel Osteen, the renowned pastor of Lakewood Church, broke down in tears while sharing the story of his beloved mother, Dodie Osteen's final days. Just 30 days after her peaceful passing, Pastor Joel sat down with Chad Veach of Zoe Church LA for what became one of the most emotionally raw interviews we've ever seen from the typically composed minister. Pastor Chad Veach from Zoe Church LA was interviewing Joel Osteen at an event he hosted dubbed Pastor's Gathering. The conversation started normally enough, discussing Joel's natural optimism, his journey into ministry, and his approach to hope-filled preaching. But then Chad asked about Joel's mother, who had recently passed away at 91 years old. And that's when we saw something we rarely see from Joel Osteen: complete vulnerability. As he began sharing about his mother's final days, his voice cracked.
But condolences on your mother passing. We loved your mom. And I want to hear a little bit about, I watched the service. It was so beautiful. What did you tell us some truths about your mom's life and what you learned from her? Because I know you're talking about dad, but man, she was so special.
Yeah, my mom was amazing, y'all. She lived 91 and a half years. She was strong and healthy. And, she passed July 30th. Joey keeps telling me, you okay? You okay? But you know what? I'm at peace because, man, I talked to my mom. Let's see, she passed on Wednesday. I talked to her Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. She passed in her home peacefully in her house 2 hours later that night. And, so I called my mom that night, and she hadn't been feeling well that day. She was at church 2 days before, praying for people down at the altar. 91 years old. She prayed for people all that. She loved to pray. But I'll tell you this, and then I'll get back to your question. But I called my mom, and I said she wasn't feeling well. I called her at 8 o'clock that night. Mom, okay, Mom, I'm praying for you. Good night, Mom. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. She said, good night, Joel. I'll see you. Well, that was the last words I ever spoke to my mom. But I say that to say, it's so much more, it's so much easy. Well, it's not easy. It's a lot less difficult to lose someone when there are no regrets. So, my mom knew that I loved her. Oh, man, I'm not going to cry. Oh, shoot, I didn't mean to cry, y'all. Oh, shoot. Okay, here we go. My mom knew that I loved her, and I knew that she loved me.
Wow.
And so, I'm not here to preach to y'all, but it's a good reminder that life is short, to take time for the people that you love.
Yeah, beautiful.
My mom and I went to, okay, I've got to get off this. My mom and I went to dinner. Every Monday night, we'd go have dinner. And
Jeez. Wow, so sorry.
I'm really good, y'all. I probably because I'm talking about it, but I'm really happy. I don't know why I cry all the time. My mom and I went to dinner, Chad, every Monday night for like the last 5 years, and she liked to go to the cafeteria, and I thought that's fine, But my mom was so proud of her kids, and she was especially proud of me. She thought I was the king of the world. We walk in the cafeteria. She said, "Oh, Joel, when we go in, everybody starts watching you. Everybody starts looking. Half the people don't even know who I am." But you know what? I never told her indifferent because I thought if she's that proud of me, I'm going to let her think that. But
What struck me most about this interview wasn't just the tears, though they were deeply moving, but the profound lesson embedded in Joel's vulnerability. Here was a man who ministers to millions worldwide, known for his message of hope and encouragement, allowing himself to be completely human in front of his peers. When Joel said, "My mom knew that I loved her, and I knew that she loved me," through tears, he wasn't just sharing a memory. He was teaching us about the importance of expressing love while we still can. As Joel shared through his tears, he shared how his mom was committed to praying for people at the church altar, which she was still doing just 2 days before her death. This woman, who had been healed of terminal cancer 44 years earlier, spent her remaining decades praying boldly for others.
But Chad, my mom loved to pray for people. Wow. She had a heart to just pray for people. So she'd go down to the medical school. She was healed from cancer 44 years ago, terminal cancer. And she said, Joel, that's my life, to go pray for others. She would go down to the medical center in Houston every Tuesday. She'd have a service in the chapel there and just pray for people from all over the world. And when COVID hit, she started doing the healing service by Zoom. Wow. And you know what? She loved to pray for people. One thing I learned from my mom is to pray bold prayers. Wow. My mom would pray for anything. When we were growing up, my mom would pray for the dishwasher. She would pray for her car. And I said, Mom, let's get a technician. It's a car, but she'd pray for anything. But, you know, it was that bold prayer, though, that she prayed for people, Chad, that she never met. Wow. There was an entertainer in Houston named Bill Nash, a friend of ours now, but he was on a marquee for like 5 years, and she never met him, but she drove by that marquee and started praying for him. And years later, Bill Nash showed up at our church, and my mom went back there, and he gave his life back to Christ and started singing for the Lord. But my mom was a lady of prayer, and she loved people.
Joel's description of his mother's prayer life was remarkable. What came through clearly was the impact of Joel's mother beyond just being a pastor's wife. She was healed from terminal cancer 44 years ago. She spent decades praying for people at Houston's medical center. She started doing healing services over Zoom during COVID. She was known for praying bold prayers, even for dishwashers and cars. She supported Joel's different approach to ministry without criticism. Joel said something beautiful. I wouldn't be here if my mom hadn't been that supportive.
And she was so supportive of me. When my dad passed, my mom and dad had pastored for 40 years. Wow. Well, you know, when I was stepping up, I wanted to do things a little different, you know, just slowly. It's just a different generation. But my mom never once said, you know, Joel, I wouldn't do that, or don't do that. Or she just said, Joel, whatever you feel like God's put in your heart. I wouldn't be here if my mom hadn't been that supportive. You know, because sometimes there can be a clash. Because my mom was only 65 when my dad passed. And so, anyway, I didn't mean to go into all that, but she was a woman of prayer. She and my dad started the church when Mother was 26 years old. So 91 years later, who would have ever thought? They started with 90 people, and your message was so powerful. There were so many points in there, but that don't despise the day of small beginnings. And hey, we're not in this for growth. Well, my parents started the church with 90 people, and Chad, everybody sees Lakewood, it's so big, but that was back in 1959. But for 13 years, Lakewood had less than 200 people. So I grew up in a little church. I was only like 4 or 5 years old, but I grew up in a small church. But you know what I saw my parents do? My mom and dad, my dad, every service, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, doing the funerals, doing the weddings. Just he preached to those 90 people like he's preaching to 90,000 people. Because he'd been overseas and had these big crusades, but I saw faithfulness in my parents. Wow. And not just them, the first 90 members. I mean, that's amazing. And I tell people all the time, Chad, I'm reaping seeds that my parents have sown. You know, and it's just, it's a beautiful thing that, you know, 40 years down the road. My parents put me 40 years down the road when I took the church. Wow. I mean, you guys started this church. This is phenomenal. But, you know, man, I should do good. I had somebody go 40 years and leave me a building and leave me money to pay staff and all that. So I forgot the question, y'all, but that's good, wasn't it?
So good. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Thank you. It's helping me. It's encouraging me. I did not know that for 13 years that the church was that size, and to see what the Lord has done is truly the hand of God.
I really think, Chad, they were testing and proving years. Because, you know, my dad, he could have gotten discouraged. He had friends come by, John, because he pastored big Baptist churches. Now he's in this little church, and it was a rundown feed store. So they used to sell hay and feed in it. And so he had just built a big 1,000-seat sanctuary, you know, and it's a long story, but he left the denomination he was in to start this. But now we're in an old feed store, and we had to go clean it out. Oh, that's all fine. But I think that was those 13 years was a time of testing and proving for my parents. Because you know what? If you're not going to be faithful in the wilderness, how can God trust you to go into the promised land? So, I saw my parents just, you know, they never complained. Wow. They just pastored faithfully there. And then it did begin to grow. Wow. But I think we all go through those seasons of, you know, testing and, man, I'm doing the right thing and I'm preaching as good as Chad, but my church is not growing. But you know what? You just stay faithful. And I love that. I love that. I've heard somebody say, you know what, we plant, we water, we fertilize, but only God can bring the sunshine. Wow. You know, that's his job. So I love everything you said today.
So good. Thank you. That's beautiful.
Sometimes the greatest ministry happens behind the scenes, in the encouragement and support we give to others. This interview revealed profound truths about ministry and family life. Joel spoke about how his parents modeled authenticity. They were the same people in the pulpit as they were at home. This authenticity is what allowed their children to see ministry as genuine rather than performance. Why this matters? Here's what struck me about this moment. 1. Leaders grieve too. We often put pastors and spiritual leaders on pedestals, forgetting they experience the same human emotions we all do. Seeing Joel break down reminds us that grief is universal. It doesn't matter how much faith you have or how many people you've encouraged. 2. The power of no regrets. Joel emphasized something profound. It's so much less difficult to lose someone when there are no regrets. He and his mother had a weekly dinner tradition for 5 years. They said, "I love you," regularly. When loss comes, having that foundation of expressed love makes all the difference. 3. Authentic ministry. This wasn't Joel's polished TV persona. This was a son missing his mother. And ironically, this moment of brokenness may have been more powerful than any sermon he's preached. It showed his audience that it's okay to grieve, it's okay to cry, and it's okay to be human. Whether you're a fan of Joel Osteen's ministry or not, this moment of raw humanity should touch something in all of us. It reminds us that it's okay to grieve deeply. Expressing love while we can matters immensely. Even the strongest among us need support. Vulnerability can be a form of ministry. As Joel continues processing this loss, let's remember that our spiritual leaders are human beings who need our prayers and support, especially during seasons of grief. If this touched your heart like it did mine, take a moment to pray for Joel Osteen and his family as they grieve. Call someone you love and tell them. Remember that it's okay to not be okay. Sometimes, support the pastors and spiritual leaders in your own community. Let me know in the comments how this moment impacted you, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this.